The glass door of the roadside diner swung open with such force that the small bell hanging above it flew off, hit the wall, and fell onto the tiled floor with a sharp clatter. A little girl stumbled in, her bare feet stepping on shattered pieces of glass without seeming to notice. The pale yellow floral dress she wore was torn at the shoulder, smeared with dirt and streaks of dried mud. Her brown hair tangled and damp with sweat. Her gray eyes opened so wide they looked as if they might burst from sheer terror. The quiet atmosphere inside the diner, normally calm after the lunch rush, froze instantly. The cleaning cloth in Maggie's hand stopped in mid-wipe over a coffee stain still smeared across the table. Two long-haul truck drivers at the counter lifted their eyes from their cups of cold coffee. In the far corner, booth, next to the window overlooking the highway near Clearwater, Arizona, three bikers in black leather vests marked Lone Highway Riders MC froze with their burgers halfway to their mouths. The little girl stood in the middle of the aisle, chest heaving, her voice hoarse from running and fear. "Please!" Her first word came out like a breath. Then she inhaled sharply, gathering what little courage she had left. "Please, someone help me. He's coming." The words, "he's coming," sliced through the stillness, sending a chill through the entire diner. Her eyes darted from face to face, brushing past Maggie before locking onto the three bikers in the corner. As if she had just realized she had found the exact people she needed to cling to. Outside the glass door, far down the highway, the hum of an approaching car engine grew louder. Steady. Rhythmic. Yet in the girl's ears, it sounded like the ticking countdown of a nightmare closing in. In that moment, no one knew exactly what had happened. Only that the quiet life of a small town was about to be torn apart by a terrifying truth. A child had risked everything to escape. And it would be those three rough-looking bikers, the same men everyone avoided, who would be forced to choose, turn away or stand up. If you believe in kindness, please like and subscribe and comment where you're watching from. The first to stand was Colt Walker. Nearly 50, his sun-weathered face lined with the deep creases of someone who had seen far too many ugly things on America's endless roads. He had once been an infantry soldier, returning from war with ears more accustomed to the sound of gunfire than music, and with a guilt that stabbed at him every time he remembered the moments he had arrived too late. Colt's leather vest bore the logo, Lone Highway Riders MC, a nomadic biker group roaming interstate highways, but the frayed stitches on his back patch showed just how many years the vest had lived through. Beside him stood Bear Thompson, built like a refrigerator, with a thick, silvered beard. He looked like someone who only knew how to growl, yet his vest pocket always held a few packs of gum he handed out to kids at gas stations. The youngest was Rico Alvarez, just past 30, with a long, jagged scar running down his left arm from an accident 2 years earlier. His brown eyes watched the world quietly, absorbing everything. They were not the rowdy outlaw stereotype movies loved to paint. They were simply men who had chosen the open road as home, using the miles to leave behind their own broken pasts. Colt had seen too many respectable-looking adults hiding monstrous intentions to trust clean appearances anymore. What drew Colt's attention now wasn't the girl's torn dress or her bare feet, but the way she stood, shoulders trembling from fear, yet her fists clenched, as if trying not to collapse. Maggie, a 60-year-old widow who'd run the diner for 3 decades, had watched countless truckers, cops, bikers, and tourists pass through her doors. She knew Colt and the Lone Highway Riders well. They were loud, rough, but never once had they stiffed a check or bothered anyone weaker than them. And then there was the little girl. Later Colt would learn her name was Lily Harper, 11 years old, a student at Maple Creek Elementary in Clearwater. Lily's parents had flown to Seattle for her grandmother's funeral, leaving the girl in the care of a neighbor, and at school under the supervision of a guidance counselor everyone trusted. But there are things people don't look closely at until it's too late. Lily remained frozen in the aisle, her gray eyes locked onto the glass door, as if blinking might allow whatever nightmare waited outside to burst in. Maggie approached cautiously, voice trembling. "Sweetheart, are you hurt? Do you need me to call an ambulance?" Lily shook her head violently, her tangled hair brushing her cheek. No. Please. Lock the door. He's coming. He said no one would believe me." The last words dissolved into a sob. One of the truck drivers sniffed dismissively, muttering something to his friend about kids being dramatic these days, then returned to scrolling his phone. The other trucker glanced briefly at Lily, discomfort flickering across his face before he also looked away, clearly wanting no part of trouble. Colt stepped forward, boots clacking against the tiles. He softened his tone. "Hey, kid, breathe. Who is he? Where'd you run from?" Lily swallowed hard, eyes still fixed on the door. "Mark. His name is Mark Reynolds. He works at my school. Everyone calls him Mr. Mark, the guidance counselor. But he's not good. He's not good at all." Her voice dropped to a trembling whisper. "He said no one believes kids, that my parents would think I'm making things up, that everything is just stories for attention." A cold ripple crawled down Colt's spine. He'd heard those exact phrases too many times during old investigations, before he'd left the service. Outside, an engine stopped right in front of the diner. The wind chime on the porch tinkled softly as the door opened. A man walked in. Polo shirt, khakis, polished shoes, silver-streaked hair neatly combed, wedding ring gleaming. A professional-looking leather briefcase hung from his hand. His face broke into a warm smile the moment he saw Lily. "Lily, you scared Mr. Mark half to death. Where did you run off to?" He turned to Maggie, his tone smooth, almost slippery. "I'm so sorry. Lily here, my student, sometimes has these episodes. She struggles with behavioral issues. I'm Mark Reynolds, school counselor at Maple Creek. I was asked to watch her while her parents are away. She bolted from the car. I've been looking everywhere." A trucker nodded, seeming convinced. Maggie hesitated, eyes shifting to Lily, who had now backed into the counter, trembling uncontrollably. "I'm not crazy," Lily burst out. "He's lying. I'm not his daughter. My parents are in Seattle. He waited until they were gone. He's been following me for months." The air grew dense. Like every molecule of the room hung suspended between a child's plea and an adult's perfect smile. Mark's blue eyes narrowed slightly at Lily's words, though the smile on his lips didn't fade. "Lily, you're making up stories again. How many times have we talked about this? When you act like this, you make everyone worried." He turned to Maggie, drawing her into his performance. "Children with trauma often fabricate complex narratives. I've been in this field for 15 years. She just needs a session with a specialist. I'll take her." Colt met his gaze, and something cold flashed behind Mark's carefully painted expression, like metal beneath chipped paint. "If that's the case," Colt said quietly, "you won't mind if we call Maple Creek's principal to confirm, right?" Bear rose from the booth, moving slowly toward the door, close enough to block it without appearing obvious. Rico twisted in his seat, eyes glued to Mark's hands. Mark chuckled, the sound like a rehearsed line from a TV commercial. "It's after hours. Principal Turner is surely home. I have her personal number, but I don't think we should disturb her over something this minor." Lily's head snapped up. "Principal Turner will believe me. She knows I don't lie. Please call her." Maggie hesitated for only a heartbeat before reaching for the phone beneath the counter. The diner fell silent as the phone rang. A trucker's coffee cup clicked softly onto the counter. The wall clock ticked. "Hello, Principal Turner?" Maggie said. "This is Maggie from Highway 17 Diner. There's a girl here, Lily Harper. She says she's your student." A pause. Another. Maggie's face drained of color. "Yes, brown hair, gray eyes. She's here." "Oh, I see." She turned to Lily, then Mark. Gripping the phone so tightly her knuckles whitened. "You reported her missing this morning?" Shock rippled through the room. Even the truckers stared now. Mark's smile twitched, his jaw tightening. Sweat glistened at his temple. "There must be a misunderstanding." Maggie lowered the phone, voice shaking. "She says Lily never arrived at school. She called her parents. They're in Seattle for a funeral and thought Lily was with a neighbor. They never asked you to watch her. She reported Lily missing because she was afraid someone had taken her." The phrase, "someone had taken her," cut through the air like a blade. Lily swallowed hard. "He said today was the perfect day because my parents weren't home. He's been watching me for so long. And he took other kids too. My friend Zoe Ramirez. They said she transferred, but I saw her backpack in his trunk, and a little key with the number 42. I remember it." Rico's eyes shot up. "Storage unit key." Colt's eyes darkened. In Mark's expression, behind the wobbling smile, something feral flickered. The next moments happened so fast that every witness later described them differently, yet they all remembered the same feeling. The stillness before a storm breaks. "That's enough," Colt whispered. Mark lunged, shoving Lily aside to clear a path to the door. She stumbled, nearly falling, but Rico caught her instantly, pulling her behind him. Mark sprinted for the exit. But Bear was already there. With one solid motion, Bear slammed a hand onto Mark's shoulder and sent him crashing backward, sliding across the tile floor. Colt moved in, dropping a knee into Mark's back and wrenching his arms behind him. There was no rage, only certainty, the practiced restraint of a man who had subdued dangerous people before. "You're committing unlawful detainment," Mark shrieked. "I'll sue all of you. I'm a pillar of this community. I sit on the school board." "You're the only grown man here who chased a terrified child into a diner," Colt cut in, voice icy. "Call yourself whatever you want. Right now you're just a man trying to drag a screaming little girl back to your car." Maggie spoke quickly into the phone. "Principal Turner, he's here. Mark Reynolds, do you know him?" Yes, I understand. The police are coming. Please hurry." She hung up, face pale. "They're looking for both Lily and Mark. They suspect he's connected to several unexplained disappearances around the school." The two truckers exchanged looks. One nodded. "Our rig is blocking half the exit. I'll close the trailer. Nobody's driving out until the cops arrive." The other added, "I'll stand outside. Even if he slips free, he's not getting past us." Outside, blue and red lights flickered in the distance. Sirens pierced the late afternoon air of Clearwater. Rico rested a hand on Lily's shoulder. "You did good, kid. Now just breathe. We're right here." Lily broke into tears, not the frantic sobs from when she'd run inside, but the kind that come when someone finally stops having to fight alone. When police officers stormed into the diner, weapons drawn by protocol, they found a sharply dressed man pinned beneath a biker veteran, a trembling girl shielded by two leather-clad men, and an elderly diner owner gripping her phone like a lifeline. What happened afterward forced the entire town to confront itself. Based on Lily's testimony, and because Colt insisted officers follow the lead of the key marked 42, police searched a storage unit off the highway. Inside, they found Zoe Ramirez, Lily's missing classmate, alive, dehydrated, terrified, but breathing. Beside her were plastic bins, thin blankets, and small backpacks belonging to other children, and journals, names, notes, clues scattered like the remnants of a dark web no one had questioned simply because it was wrapped in ironed shirts and a polite smile. The story spread beyond Clearwater, across Arizona, onto news broadcasts and online headlines. But to Colt, Bear, Rico, and Lily, none of that mattered as much as the quiet shift happening in adults' eyes. People listened more closely when a child whispered, "I'm scared." They questioned adults who seemed too perfect. They realized that sometimes the smallest signs, a dropped key, a misplaced backpack, might be the last thread pulling someone back from the edge. If the story of that little diner by the highway touched your heart, take one moment to pause, breathe, and reflect. How many times have we brushed off a frightened child's eyes because a grown-up assured us it's nothing? If you believe that kindness sometimes begins with simply trusting the smallest voice in the room, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this. And tell us in the comments, if a child ran up to you and whispered, "Please, he's coming," what would you do?